Lindsey Graham now has an arrest warrant from Russia. He was out talking with Zelensky, and this clip was released by the Ukrainian government, and the Russians are not happy about it at all. Now, Lindsey Graham has been somebody who's been very interested in Ukraine fighting Russia for many years, even before this current conflict. There's video footage of him spending time over there saying that this is coming and that America is going to be at their heels, even back during the John McCain era. He's always over there. He's always giving hugs to Zelensky. He loves war, no matter where we go. War for this guy. But a big focus for his efforts has been in Ukraine. And he sat down with Zelensky yet another time, and he said something about American dollars and how they're being spent to fund this conflict.
Senator, nice to meet you. How are you, sir? We have, I think, the whole meeting.
Thank you very much for your coming. Thank you very much. Thanks, United States people of
you're welcome.
The United States for all big support.
All the money.
President Biden, bipartisan support, Congress, and really we thank you so much. Yes, it's very important.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, everybody's working together to just give money and money and money and money for another endless war.
Free or die. Free or die. Now you are free.
Yes.
And we will be.
And the Russians are dying.
It's the best money we've ever spent.
Best money we've ever spent.
That was, we're on for it.
Best money we ever spent. Zelensky says to him, thank you, American people, for your money and your support and all this. I got to pay all my generals. I got to pay all my soldiers. I got to pay all this stuff. And the United States is going to front the bill for this war in the European theater. And we're going to be at the forefront of this. So he says, thank you for all of your billions of dollars. I know you're giving me more money, which we'll talk about in a minute. He says, now we are free. And Graham responds, he says, and Russians are dying. Then he says, and that's the best money we ever spent. And he says the Russians are dying right here. You can see his head nod a little bit, and I'll turn the volume up so we can listen to it. So one more time, just so we can hear that clearly right here. And the Russians are dying. Best money we ever spent.
So much. Yes, it's very important. Free or die.
Free or die.
Now you are free.
Yes.
And we will be.
And the Russians are dying.
It's the best money we've ever spent. Thank you so much. That was, we're on for it. Let's see. This
just giddy as can be that he's part of this giant military apparatus that just fights endless wars, spends tons of money for his cause with his Ukraine American flag pin on. And he's as giddy as can be, like a little child in a candy store. Best money we ever spent, baby. I love that. Love me some dead Russians on the American taxpayer dime. Been wanting it for 20 years. So, or longer. So he's very, very excited about it. Obviously, Russia is not happy about that. And they said the following, that there is now an arrest warrant for Lindsey Graham over his Ukraine comments, which is just gleeful about war and dead people. It's just a sick thing. Best money we ever spent, like a vacation. You say that after a massage or after a nice meal or when you go out and have a nice steak, not when you're in the middle of dead people dropping all over the place in endless war. Psycho. From Moscow, Russia's Interior Ministry on Monday issued an arrest warrant for Senator Lindsey Graham following his comments relating to the fighting in Ukraine. In an edited video of the meeting on Friday with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that was released by Zelensky's office, Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, noted that the Russians are dying and described U.S. military assistance to the country as the best money we've ever spent, baby. Woo! Love that money. While Graham appeared to have made the remarks in different parts of the conversation, the short video by Ukraine's presidential office, they put them next to each other, causing outrage in Russia. So did Lindsey Graham, was that a misconnected video? Did the Ukrainians take Lindsey Graham's words and splice them out of context for their own propaganda? Is that what the AP is telling us? Graham appeared to have made the remarks in different parts of the conversation, but the short video put them next to each other, causing outrage in Russia. Gosh, let's play that again and see. They said that there are multiple cuts in this video, and he says, and the Russians are dying. We get a cut here. The best money we ever spent. So that's the cut. So maybe that came in a different part of the conversation. Theoretically, it could be, right? He could have said that, I don't know what that was for, but maybe that comment is not directly connected to the Russians are dying comment. Would the Ukrainians do something like that and splice a United States senator's out of words, context, out of context? That seems like a dishonest thing to do for a Senate that's funding your war efforts. Feels like a little bit propaganda, no?
So much. Yes, it's very important.
Free or die.
Free or die.
Now you are free,
Yes.
and we will be.
And the Russians are dying.
It's the best money we've ever spent. Thank you so much. That was, we're on 4. Let's see, this is, it makes life possible.
We don't know what he was about to talk and get into, so the context surrounding that statement is hard. But boy, that would be a little strange if your allies were manipulating your own government's words for their propaganda and war efforts. Feels a little bit like that would be dishonest. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Dmitry, his spokesperson, commented on Sunday saying it's hard to imagine a greater shame for the country than having such senators. Yeah. And if the Ukrainians are making our senators say things that they didn't say, and it's causing Russia to react this way, seems like that is also escalating the conflict in a way that's not honest and legitimate, which would be a problem, I would think, for an honest actor like the Ukrainians claim to be. The investigative committee, the country's top criminal investigative agency, has moved to open a criminal inquiry against Graham, and the Interior Ministry followed up by the issuing of a warrant for his arrest. Too bad Brittany Griner, is not there. They could have hung out together, I suppose. But that's not going to happen. Indicated on Monday, Graham is among more than 200 U.S. members of Congress who Moscow banned last year from entering Russia. Graham commented on Twitter and responded to this. He said the following: "It is a badge of honor to have gotten this. I will wear the arrest warrant issued by Putin and his corrupt and immoral government as a badge of honor." So apparently he's accepting the interpretation the Russians have received, which means it feels like he is affirming the statements that he made. He said, "To know that my commitment to Ukraine has drawn the ire of Putin's regime brings me immense joy, as much as spending money, apparently. I will continue to stand with and for Ukraine's freedom until every Russian soldier is expelled from Ukrainian territory." Finally, here's an offer to my Russian friends who want to arrest and try me for calling out the Putin regime as being war criminals. Says, "I will submit to the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court if you do. Come and make your best case, and I'll see you in The Hague." So you see, we have a lot of conversations from Lindsey Graham, and I think that means he is affirming his prior statement. And in fact, he wants more money. That money was the best money he's ever spent. Lindsey Graham knows what really he likes, what he enjoys. And one of those things is war money, sending it over to Ukraine. And in fact, it's not enough. The United States has sent billions now, and that is just the start. Here is what Lindsey Graham says in response to the debt ceiling not including enough for Ukraine.
The biggest winner of the Biden defense budget is China because they'll have a bigger Navy. And it will be Putin. There's nothing in the budget for Biden to help Ukraine win a war that they're on the verge of driving the Russians out. So I like Kevin a lot, but don't tell me that the Biden defense budget fully funds the military. We've attacked it for a year as Republicans because it takes the Navy in decline at a time we need a larger Navy to contain China. The overmatch with China is real.
Overmatch with China is real. We need more money for China and for Ukraine. Well, Lindsey Graham gets his way because both parties want this to happen, and they just keep spending and spending and spending. And we know that there is going to be a new military aid package for Ukraine. Last week, there was a conversation about this. They're still putting the final finishing touches on it, but apparently another $400 million going over to Ukraine. Mostly ammunition money. Going to be a major topic when they meet later. Here was the other meeting with Graham. More from the conversation. Here looks like a longer, an earlier video. So the Ukrainians manipulated that clip. Whoa. All right, so here you go.
United States, people of the United States for all big support. President Biden, bipartisan support, Congress, and really we thank you so much.
Bipartisan support.
Yes, it's very important. So we appreciate we know that from first days we have total support. It's about 38 billion, and the big support, very important.
The best money we've ever spent.
Okay, it doesn't detract from the comment. The Ukrainian government took a senator's words out of context, and Graham ate it. He ate it. He got back on Twitter and said, well, yeah, that's true. He said that he's not even mad at them over this. He's owning it, not even defending himself. So that tells you about what that government is doing.
Thank you so much.
No, it's, we're on let's see, this is 457th day of a war that was supposed to last 3 days.
Yeah.
You amaze me. Your country amazes me.
It's about our people and about your people. Your people help our people. All our appreciations.
You remind me of our better selves in America. That there was a time in America that we were this way, fighting to the last person. We're going to be free or die.
Free or die.
Free or die.
Now you are free.
Yes.
And we will be.
And the Russians are dying.
Wow.
Yes, but they came to our territory.
Yeah.
We are not fighting on their
Wow.
territory.
The Ukrainian government, through Zelensky's office, manipulated their own funding senator for war propaganda, and Lindsey Graham just ate it. Unbelievable. These people. And the media just covers for them. Very dishonest. Very dishonest. Now, they're still getting more money.
You don't know exactly.
All right, the U.S. government is still spending money, $400 million. Equipment is not coming from Congress. This comes from the Presidential Drawdown Authority, or PDA, in which the president can authorize the transfer of articles and services from U.S. stocks without congressional approval in response to an emergency. Speaking at reporters at the briefing, White House spokesperson John Kirby did not put a price tag on the new aid package, so the the president can just say, well, we need it. The U.S. has been sounding out close allies about the possibility on imposing sanctions on China, which will be the second front in World War III. We know how these things go. World War II didn't start out with multiple fronts here for the United States, and then it did. And then they just explode. All of a sudden it happens slow, and then it happens fast. Boom. Kirby was asked if potential sanctions against China would be a topic for Biden and Schultz. He responded, I would certainly expect it to be. So, a lot more money going over to Ukraine. Lindsey Graham has a bloodlust for more war. The best money we've ever spent, baby. The best money. Now, he didn't actually say it in context of the sentence preceding it about killing Russians, but the money is still going towards killing Russians. But the bigger takeaway, I think, is that the Ukrainians are splicing and dicing, spreading around literal disinformation. It's not true, but he said in that context, they're still spreading it around. The Russians are picking it up and having concerns about that, talking about arrest warrants for U.S. senators. So this is a problem, and it sounds like it started from Ukraine. The Ukrainian propagandists concocted a fake script for Lindsey Graham, who is inexcusable, by the way, and deserves maximum contempt, and put that out into the media to exploit it for their own gain.